Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, even to many of you guys. My name is Trav, and thank you guys so much for joining us today. We have an exciting AMA today. We've been talking for 30 seconds, literally 30 seconds, and we already have close to 30 people hanging out with us today. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'd like to introduce you to a panel today. We have Bassam from Guardarian, and then we, of course, the man, the myth, the legend. We've got Dimitri here from Tectum here as well. So I'm going to start with you, Dimitri. Good evening, good night to you. How's your day going so far?
It's been pretty dynamic, I would say. So it's already 9 p.m. I'm in Southeast Asia, but I definitely felt like it's the right time to join in to talk with you, Trav, to talk with my new partners from Guardarian. So I'm definitely excited for the stream. I might seem a bit sleepy, but well, I'm not. It's just rather nice and quiet over here.
I mean, you found a beautifully quiet spot. Thank you so much, Dimitri, for taking the time on your vacation. Come join us here today. What I was gonna say, we were talking ahead of stream, and one thing I'll mention to you guys here right now was we have over 12 hours difference between us, and so we've got the whole day covered essentially. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning for me, and it's about significantly later, 9 p.m. for you there, Dimitri. So let's make this happen, guys. Bassam, yes. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are the CBDO from Guardarian, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you actually for hosting me. It's actually funny because I'm just right in between you guys. So it's like early day for you. It's late night for Dimitri. For me, it's like 4 p.m. So it's like in the middle of the day.
Perfect. I'm happy you were able to that was able to work out well for all of us here today. I know it took a little bit to book this one, but we made it. I'm proud of you guys. I just want to thank our audience one more time here. People are piling in. Thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate you. And let's dive into this brand new partnership by Guardarian and Tectum today. So maybe Bassam, you know what? I'm sorry. Dimitri, I'm going to start off with you, as you're the gentleman who's, you play a significant role in partnerships here. Can you tell us a little bit about how this partnership came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Trav, as you already know, and as most of our listeners know already, so we already signed in with the Mount Pellerin for on-ramp off-ramp payments, and the Mount Pellerin has been already integrated in our wallet. As well as we signed with the AAA, which is currently being integrated live. And Guardarian is not yet another addition, but Guardarian will be one of those mainstream channels for us for the on-ramp off-ramp payments, I believe, simply because of the of the massive expertise that Guardarian has in this sphere direction of fiat and crypto.
I love it. And I mean, you had me at massive, say the word massive, and it piqued my interest. So I appreciate you. And what a great segue into chatting with you about Guardarian, Bassam. So let me ask you, my friend here, for those who might not know you yet from the Tectum community, and for anyone else jumping into our live stream today, what is Guardarian and what makes your platform different from other crypto on-ramp, off-ramp services?
So yeah, thank you again for having me here. So Guardarian basically is as you mentioned, on-ramp, off-ramp. What is on-ramp, off-ramp? Actually, I can take a step back. So Guardarian, we are Europe-based, Estonia-specific company. We have been in the crypto space for a while, around 8 years to be exact.
Amazing.
We are based in Estonia. We are licensed in a couple of countries around the world, we can say. And for those who actually don't know what's on-ramp, off-ramp, it's the capabilities to buy crypto from fiat, and off-ramp is actually the opposite, which is to be able to sell. And when it comes to fiat, like Visa, of course, not cash, because cash, that's a gray area. Because everyone who says, like, when it comes to on-ramp, is it like cash to crypto? No, cash is a bit too gray, to be honest. It's from Visa, MasterCard, debit card. Even we have partners with like something like Revolut Pay, if you know, bank transfer, etc.
Incredible.
And yeah, we also have cross-chain swaps, OTCs, and we're actually soon launching our crypto payment gateway as well.
Man, you guys have so much going for you. That's, I mean, first of all, I appreciate you sharing that with us here today. And so, how long did you say that Guardarian has been established?
For the last 8 years, I can say.
8 years. Phenomenal here. Perfect. So I'm curious real quick before I jump into the next question specifically about Guardarian. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with Tectum and maybe, tell us from your end how the partnership came to be?
Well, as I mentioned before, when it comes to Guardarian, the infrastructure that we have, specifically the crypto infrastructure, is quite large. So we support more than 110 chains. We support more than 1,000 assets actually on crypto.
Incredible.
And yeah, so when it comes to comparing for someone who does simply on-ramp, off-ramp, that's very, the number is big when it comes to compare to other on-ramp, off-ramps providers. So yeah, Tectum actually came across as one of the main tokens that we support, specifically when it comes to Ethereum. And yeah, I think we have been supporting Tectum for quite some times already. We actually saw due to the fact that we have this accessibility to major liquidity providers on the market. So what we do is we basically have listing managers or operation managers who actually track what are the main tokens that have potentials, that actually have a lot of requests from the community, etc. And we list them without by ourselves. We simply just allow our users to buy and sell it. So, and Tectum, with obviously huge potential and actually big history, we had to activate it or allow our community to buy and sell.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's good to know. It's nice to know a little bit of the history between Guardarian and Tectum here. And I know before the stream started, we were talking about you'd actually have joined Tectum for AMAs in the past. You mentioned back in 2024 you would join us here. Now we were still trying to figure out if that was me who was hosting you guys or not. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. My brain is still waking up, so it could have. I apologize if it was here, but
no, it wasn't.
Not an important segue. Okay, perfect. Vindication. So, Bassam, let me ask you about your mission here real quick, if I can. So we've established that Guardarian has been around for a while now, 8 years, which is incredible to think about, the ups and the downs in the markets that you guys have survived. Can you tell us what your main goal is today as a company? And are you more focused on expanding partnerships or improving user experience, or a little bit of both?
Well, to be honest, actually, it's always both of them. Our main mission have been, and it always will be, to try the maximum as possible, as much as possible, to onboard as much as possible users to Web3 from Web2, while keeping it as simple, secure, and as compliant as possible. So we try as much as possible to not allow the bureaucracy, the licensing, and the compliances to stand between our making the flow of onboarding users as seamless as possible. But this is when it comes to compliance, that's another topic that we can discuss actually.
I also have a question on that later on.
Yeah. So when it comes to, this is actually dividing. So when it comes to users experience, we are always working on that. And that's actually why I think around a year ago, we started adding the cross-chain swaps, because we were okay, a lot of people are onboarding from the Web2, but what about the people who are in the Web3 already and our users? So these kind of services are for our user interface. And my part of the job is more about having more partnerships. And actually, last week I was at Token in Singapore. We actually had the stand there, and this was eventually about having more partners and having more and more partnership.
Incredible. No, that's first of all, that was the answer I was hoping for, a little bit of both. When you're looking for a future-proof plan, it's way too many P's in that one. You have no option but to do that. So Dimitri, I'm curious to ask you, my friend, you mentioned you had a question about that as well. I know we'll definitely get into kind of the bureaucracy at any point. So you guys are driving the ship just as much as I am. So I'd love to hear your reaction here and hear what your thoughts are.
Well, first of all, it's rather rare in Web 2, Web 3 that Guardarian were the ones that integrated the Tectum token first. Like we didn't talk them whatsoever. Now it's just you guys get in touch with us. Hey, we got your token. Let's build something together. And that's rather rare because usually the way it works, usually it's like companies such as Guardarian, those on-ramp off-ramp payment systems, I believe that would be the correct term, right? Get in touch with us and they're like, okay, so if you guys want integration, you must pay us. So the way Guardarian took the approach is that we already integrated you guys. Let's build something together. And I believe this is just a perfect example of the Web3 community, the way it should work, in the ideal world. So this is definitely something amazing, at least. And also, building on that, I have a question for Bassam. Bassam, do you believe that you operate within the Web 2 or the Web 3 space?
Ooh, very cool question.
Feel about it, actually?
Well, it's actually a hard question. I think we are Web3 company as well, because what we actually are focusing on is always our Web3 infrastructure. But again, we always say that we are a bridge between Web2 and Web3. So we actually trying to take as much as possible users from the Web2 to the Web3. So we have some roots in the Web2, but we are a Web3 company.
I love that.
Makes sense. No, because I know the way it works with on-ramp, off-ramps, integrating Web3 projects, you also have to follow all the possible KYCs, KYBs, because you're working with the likes of Visa, for example. So that's a very difficult part. Like I know it personally, know it myself. So it's always a difficult balance to maintain, that decentralization, so-called, from Web3, and then actually the proper structure of that Visa requires from you. For example, that the KYC, KYBs for each of the clients that uses and each of the users that is linked to your company.
Well, yeah, actually, it's good that you mentioned Visa. I'm sorry, because for example, when I look at Visa is a Web2 company that's expanding into Web3. We, on the other hand, we are a Web3 company that's trying to onboard users from Web2. So our roots are not
many people against Visa. Many people against Visa. I'm telling you, many people in Web3 are definitely against Visa.
They are a Web2 company trying to expand there. We are the opposite. We are on Web3 side, just trying to help people on board.
Exactly. Yeah, this is Strava. I would say the very similar approach that we are taking. We're not trying to revolutionize whatsoever. No, we're just trying to make it as seamless as possible. With the soft note system, for example, the soft notes, themselves, the physical papers. We're not trying to tell people that everything you did for the past, like 20, 30, 50 years was wrong. You must do the new way. No, this is just very incorrect. What we are only trying to say that there are options. Fine, you can use your card. You can use this and that, but also you have an option to use crypto, and crypto is very similar to what you've been using for the past 50 years. So I believe that's the best approach, and I believe Bassam will actually agree with me that having that Web2 structure, it's very structured, very organized business, and yet having the whole idea structured around Web3 is the best kind of approach you can ever think of, because that actually complements those aspects. They complement each other, if that makes sense.
Couldn't agree more, Dimitri. And this is an interesting part of the conversation that we've gotten to, comparing and contrasting Web 2 and Web 3. And what I'm picking up from what you're mentioning to us right now is that it always doesn't have to be contrast. There certainly is a lot of positive that can come from the Web 2 world in particular. They are incredibly established. Their workflow is tremendous. But then also looking towards Web 3, that the cooperation, the collaboration, like you mentioned to begin with, where Bassam, you guys at Guardarian had just onboarded the Tectum token without even charging, without even, formalizing an actual partnership. And then you came to us and were like, here, we've onboarded your Tectum token. We'd love to build with you guys. My experience, that is extremely rare in the Web 2 world. So that's, I appreciate this conversation. And then one more thing to kind of bring to life to anyone who, may want to just have a better picture of the whole onboarding, offboarding process. And when we're talking about KYC and when we're talking about, almost like we're comparing decentralization versus decentralization at that point here. Maybe I'll ask you, Bassam, and this is definitely not on script, so I apologize for taking you off guard here. If we're looking at classic centralized exchanges when we're on-ramping, off-ramping, KYC is very, very complex. It takes a couple of days sometimes. Fees taking your funds off-ramp, on-ramp are incredibly high. Like, for example, I was withdrawing some of my crypto from crypto.com, not throwing any shade, but it ended up taking, I think, about 20 to 30% of the funds that I was removing after all of the swaps, after the actual off-ramp process. It was significantly expensive. So maybe can you tell us a little bit about kind of solutions you guys may have come up with to help kind of mitigate that complexity and how expensive that process is for your, like, compared to your typical centralized exchanges?
But yeah, that's actually a very good question. Actually, when it comes to us, the main advantage or like the difference between like Guardarian and decentralized exchange is, speaking of Web3, is custody, who actually hold the funds themselves. When it comes to centralized exchanges, you go to them and you actually do KYC with them, and you actually pay them fiat, and they actually are holding your crypto. When it comes to using Guardarian, it's actually you're paying us fiat, and we are sending you the crypto. Just tell us which wallet, and we are sending it there. Which is the major advantage here, is that we, like, our KYC, which is on the contract, doesn't take 2 minutes, doesn't take 2 days. Again, the main thing, especially when it comes to Web3 community, is who's actually holding the funds. So you actually said the good example. You were withdrawing from crypto. You are withdrawing crypto that you actually never hold it. So they were actually with crypto, and you are withdrawing them. When it comes to using Guardarian to like on-ramp, off-ramp, you're actually sending fiat and receiving the crypto again. And when it comes to off-ramping, you're sending crypto and receiving the fiat again. So you are always the holder of the funds. And this is actually a very major difference when it comes to centralized exchanges. The second difference is, which is like not directly to Guardarian, is because we're actually non-custodial, our fees are practically transparent. So you come to me, you want to do KYC, I tell you, like, okay, so you send me 100 euros, I will give you 98, I think. So you want it, you don't just like come or go. So you can go search for other providers, and that's it. When it comes to centralized exchanges, you actually don't know how much you're actually going. So it's a kind of surprise. There's no transparency when it comes here.
And not a good surprise.
Yeah, 100%. So for us, it's actually beforehand. So you're going there, the price is like sticker written there. This is the estimates that we're getting. I'm getting this much. Do I like it? Do I not? That's like your problem. That's for you to decide. But you don't like us, just go to other providers. Again, I'm not trying to push people who actually have one of the best rates. But again, I'm speaking from not trying to be biased to Guardarian as a product. I'm speaking from a Web3 users' point of view. But centralized exchanges, they're like a black box, actually. So you come there, you just like throw your money, you do some trading, you might get profit, you might not, and then you're doing that. You're going out with also from another black box.
Oh, brilliant. And one thing I just really want to emphasize to our audience here today, which, by the way, we are pushing 400 viewers right now. And I just want to take a moment and thank you all so much for being a part of this conversation. And perfect segue into the next point that I want to make is how significant this is, especially the custodian topic here as well. Like, over the weekend, we saw Bitcoin take a massive dump. And there were specific stable coins, even, I believe it was the USDE, that even depegged. And that was very reminiscent of, previous situations where we had mass liquidity exodus that happened in the market. And during those times, there were significant shutdowns of centralized exchanges. People had no choice but to sit back and just watch their crypto just tank in prices. And because the centralized exchanges were shut down, they couldn't withdraw or they couldn't swap to stable coins. Even if they could swap to stable coins, so many of them just depegged anyways. So to not have that custodianship issue during times like that is a huge deal. And, when it comes to decentralization, I'm a huge proponent for decentralization, as I know all of you gentlemen are here as well. And I was about this close to start to throw shade and start to rage all over centralized exchanges, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. So how about this here, Dimitri? I haven't heard from you for a while. I'd love to hear your 2 cents about this topic of conversation, and then we'll get back into the questions here. So it's all yours.
Yeah, I absolutely agree in that sense that decentralization is the future, at least the future that we want, right? It's future that we deserve, well, hopefully, right? But as of right now, we cannot really, let's be honest, Trav, we cannot really compete with the centralized exchanges such as, let's say, Binance or Bybit, whatever.
100%.
However, it's very difficult to compete with them for the sake of finance, for the sake of trust as well. Even though the the likes of Binance, they do some moves that actually cripples them in a sense, if you know what I mean. But yeah, what I'm saying is that what we're seeing right now is the centralized exchanges. Yes, they are at the top, right? Most of the money are on the centralized exchanges, or at least most of the tokens are there. But the way I see is that it is only like how should I call it? Just for now it is the way it is, right? But later on, I feel like people will be ready to move on into decentralized exchanges, because when for 50+ years you've been using banks, you've been using centralized networks, right now using sexes, it's very difficult to switch into decentralized exchanges, decentralized networks, and be like, okay, yeah, fine, I don't need centralization anymore, that's it, I'm fully decentralized. No, that's just not going to happen. We need big projects, we need big decentralized exchanges, something that will actually show people that, hey, there is an alternative, right? And when the likes of Guardarian are rising up, right? You've been on the market for how many years? You said 8.
8
right?
years,
and
yeah.
That's already 8 years, yeah. And in crypto, 8 years is like a lifetime. You've been probably amongst the very first ones that offered crypto to fiat exchanges. So this is actually building that established brand that will later on play its crucial part in establishing this whole idea of using decentralization, using decentralized network, decentralized exchanges, and making it as convenient as possible between crypto and fiat. You don't need to, you would not need to trust those centralized exchanges for any reason, when you have the likes of Guardarian, the likes of we signed with AAA, with the Pellerin as well. It's just easier that way. But for now, we just got to accept that it's difficult to compete, but times will come, and hopefully something changes. At least that's the way I feel it.
And I think the way you see it is absolutely on point there, Dimitri. So let me just tell you that. So, gentlemen, I'd like to pivot. I'd like to ask you one more question there, Bassam, about Guardarian. And then I'd love to chat a little bit about the actual Tectum Guardarian partnership here. So definitely stay tuned, friends. This is where the meat and potatoes are of this conversation here. Also, might I add, we were about this close to diving into the whole Binance situation that's going on right now. I kind of want to, but maybe we'll hold that off for the next conversation here as well. So last one here to you, Bassam. So one of your big selling points is how easy it is to buy and sell crypto with fiat. So can you tell us the most popular way people are actually using Guardarian right now? Would it be direct integrations with different wallets, or direct use of the Guardarian platform itself for swaps, on-ramp, off-ramp, etc.?
Well, yeah, that's actually, it actually depends. So we have actually quite a combination of both, but most of the volumes I can 100% say actually are coming from partners. Again, being 8 years in the industry allowed us to be integrating quite a big number of I can say around 500 partners.
Wow.
And this actually not only means users, it actually even extend to the businesses. So we do have like the BTC part, and then we have the BTB part. So we
Unreal.
actually have like, so we have, for example, integration with crypto payment gateways, where like they actually help companies get payments in crypto, but these companies at the end of the day, they want to off-ramp their money. Like they actually got to their bank account because they have to pay the bills, they have to pay payrolls. So that's actually what other kind of integrations, which is very important when it comes to our side, because when it comes to users, I do understand that when it comes to user base, most of the volumes are in terms of from our website or the partners, it's always on ramp, which is something I'm very happy about. So like 90% of volumes is people getting into crypto. But when it comes to
Amazing.
businesses, a lot of businesses are using the off ramp because they are getting onboarded to crypto, but they still have this payrolls, these bills, and etc. They need to bill, so they are using our service to off ramp and sorry, to be able to use like to pay. But the good part is about how they're actually getting onboarded into Web3 parts. So I actually have a good example. We recently onboarded a car dealership in Germany.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so he actually sell cars for Solana and Bitcoin, but at the
Oh,
end of the day, he have to pay for the cars. So he use us to off ramp. So this is actually like I use this a lot because this is like he's like a 40 or 50 years old man. So, but again, this is what we're happy about it when it comes to institutional like on ramp, off ramp. But yeah, so coming back to the main questions, our main volumes or our main work is when it comes to integration with partners, and the list of partners is literally very big. So we're starting from uh, I don't know, like even companies like Ledger have us integrated
oh, wow.
to Change Now, C Wallet, etc. Even actually, we work with centralized exchanges as well.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it's nice to know that there are people involved in the centralized exchanges who are such advocates for decentralization. Hey, I feel like you're fighting for us here, so I appreciate you, Bassam. Guys, I don't know about you, but I'm very tempted to just pivot our conversation towards mass adoption. Bassam, you spoke on some really interesting points here that's kind of sparking this inspiration here. You mentioned that you've sent your integration to a car dealership so that they can buy and sell vehicles with Solana. And what was the other one? BNB, was it? Or was it Bitcoin?
BTC, and actually, he's even sell it
BTC.
for other crypto, but mainly Solana actually.
Oh, are you guys still with me? I, I
Yeah.
was I was worried for a second. All of a sudden, the screen went blank here. So we're good. We're
Yeah,
okay.
I've froze for a second. Same.
Okay, good. So maybe Dimitri, I'm curious here about to chat with you about real quick the significance of this partnership and the relevance for mass adoption. How is this partnership going to bring Tectum and Guardarian even closer to mass adoption?
Well, I'll tell you this for sure, Trav, that we already are integrated into the Guardarian system, and people can already swap their TETs for whatever they want to swap in, and hopefully the further on ramp off ramp also comes in. And I also believe our team will be working into the integration of the new TCT token into the Guardarian. Should be much of a problem because the team has already finished the ERC contract, so soon you will have big news about the TCT Trav and the whole community as well. The question about mass adoption, I mean, first of all, we should define what do you mean by mass adoption. Would it come overnight? No, absolutely not. But would such partnerships ease off the life of people, make it more convenient? Yes, absolutely. We need more partners like Guardarian to keep the pace up when it comes to on ramp, off ramp, because fine. For now, we have them paired in, we have the cheaper way to create on-ramp, off-ramp partners. But then, they work in certain regions. That's why we should offer them options. That's why, Guardarian, maybe Guardarian will be able to fill in those, gaps for people that do not find those two convenient enough. Guardarian, we, made a part. Whenever you can analyze, when the mass adoption comes in, I cannot answer this question, but I can only assure you that, those are the steps that will lead to that mass adoption that everyone is waiting of.
That makes a ton of sense, Dimitri. And I appreciate that answer because you've highlighted one important point, and that's when it comes to mass adoption, when it comes to onboarding brand new users who have never used crypto before in their entire lives, the name of the game is convenience. You want to make things as easy, as accessible, and as seamless as possible here. Any thoughts from you on this question here, Bassam? I'm curious to kind of pick your brain to hear what your thoughts are about mass adoption, about when it comes to this partnership.
Well, actually, it's the mass adoption was actually a topic when it comes to one of the panels that I participated in Singapore, and what I'm actually was always being like a bit more conservative when it comes to this topic, because I was saying I'm afraid that one of the people who will actually do mass adoption for crypto will be eventually the traditional banks, because they have the big number of users, and if one day they will decide to support crypto, everyone will eventually have a crypto wallet directly, and they will literally be like centralized exchanges. So this is like when it comes to mass adoptions from a conservatives point of view, like which we are actually afraid of. But here actually when it comes to, as actually Dimitri mentioned, when it comes to mass adoptions, what we actually are trying to do is to try to get as much licenses as possible from our side, which is a bit too complicated to say, and to try to mimic their day-to-day use of fiat, because people are actually, we are all out of habit. We act as of habit. So if we are used to use some kind of, like as we say, Visa, MasterCard, for example, debit cards, or even in some like APAC regions, they use mostly QR codes or alternative payment methods. Then we are trying to allow as much of these payment methods for the users, to tell them, hey, we can actually onboard you from this kind of payment methods, that like whatever you have on daily basis, and then the onboarding would be actually easier than what you're actually mentioning. And Dimitri has actually the right, like what we don't, there is no definition for mass adoption, but like what you're actually defining as mass adoption will be actually easier, because why people actually love centralized exchanges is you go to centralized exchange, you sign up with it, email, password, you do KYC, and that's it. It's very traditional. It's like every single platform they are using. But when it comes to, for example, here actually not speaking about on-ramp, off-ramp, like any other wallets, you go, you have to write seed phrase and etc., which is not traditional, not something they're used to. That's why they're like, oh, centralized exchange is easier for me. It's like what they are used to do. So this is why, like, this is what we should try, like as Guardarian side, and actually from Tectum side, to try as much as possible to teach people about the importance of non-custodial, the importance of being decentralized, to tell them, and this is from one side. From the other side is try to make all our platforms or our infrastructure more user-friendly, more relevant, or more similar to their day-to-day and their habits, so they are more likely to use decentralized or more such platforms than go directly with the easy part with centralized exchanges.
Brilliant, Bassam. I really appreciate that answer here. You covered some really important points. The one about kind of humans being creatures of habit, and how everyone is basically encoded with these systems that are currently exist in centralized organizations. The one thing also that I'm kind of teasing from that is kind of the security issue as well. When people have to start worrying about private keys and things like that, and just kind of looking at the process that exists in a decentralized scenario versus a centralized scenario, the risk that you're putting yourself, that you're subjecting yourself to is quite a bit different. And it's, I would argue, quite a bit, you know what, I'm not going to argue about that right now. So yeah, there's the ease of use, there's the comfortability and the security, all very, very important points when it comes to decentralize it, or when it comes to mass adoption, if you will, here. So appreciate your answer. Very, very eloquently said. So before we wrap up, guys, we've got about 10 minutes or so left here. I'm curious to chat a little bit more specifically about the Tectum and Guardarian partnership here. So one point that we haven't really brought up here is soft node integration. So Bassam, is there a space in the Guardarian Tectum integration with the soft node wallet? And yeah, maybe you can shine a little bit of light on that.
Well, yeah, I actually, to be completely honest, I think the soft node is kind of a new wallet, correct? Or I'm wrong?
Dimitri, I'll let you answer that one here.
I mean, it depends what you have by new. Well, the wallet has been around for like, I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years, right? And right now we're redesigning the wallet, and we are integrating the new on-ramp off-ramps methods. So, well, it depends what do you define as new. Well,
yeah, well, 1.5
Bassam,
years.
how about this? You ask a question, that I'll tell you because I don't see where it's gonna lead to. So go on.
No. So what? Yeah, that actually answers my question perfectly. So yeah, I think I think
Like-
Dimitri answered this for me. They are actually
Like, is it
more.
possible to can we integrate you? Yes, we can. Do you want us to get integrated? Well, you tell us.
Of course, of course we
There
want.
you go, see?
So yeah, that's like it's actually more about your resources. Like we're always more than happy to integrate. Actually, can you hear me now? Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
actually always more than happy to onboard as much partners as possible. And we're actually trying to onboard as much users as possible. Again, this is not only about, especially actually when it comes to AMA, I try to avoid to be very like business oriented. Like I'm not trying to pull people to, or like pull partners on the AMA, but we're always happy to onboard or help our partners onboard as much users as possible to the Web3. So when it comes to integration, we are integrated actually in what we can say in cold wallets, hot wallets. So yeah, we would be glad to actually help you onboard as much from your community to Web3. And hopefully, as I always wish, one day we'll not even need the Web2 to deal for.
Perfect. Apologies, guys. I may have just frozen there for a second. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Perfect.
we can hear you.
Excellent. So I did miss the tail end of that, but I think that's a great segue into my next question here for you, Bassam, and to you as well, Dimitri, is what do you think this partnership brings to everyday users? Is it faster access, lower fees, or just more flexibility overall? Do you have any kind of specifics that you can share with us, Bassam?
Well, yeah, so actually one of the main points is actually, I think, as we started from, the capability to buy directly to Tectum into the software, like to the token directly, not through like to buy USDC and then switch from that. That's actually one thing. And that's either through Guardarian inside Tectum or actually to through on our website or even on other partners of ours. That's actually what could be the main thing, because like Softnode and Tectum community, like they are almost one. So the easy access not only on Softnode, but through Guardarian, whatever we are existing, that's actually can be a great start from, and that's actually why we are on this AMA from the first for the first use. And the second thing is of course like When it comes to Guardarian, we actually support, due to the fact that we have very well-rooted or very good collaborations when it comes to like European, for example, or even other geographic like geos. We actually have one of the lowest fees when it comes to comparing to other providers. So the SoftNote community or users will eventually have not only some unique payment methods, like as I mentioned before, like Revolut Pay or Pix, for example, from Brazil, but they will also be able to enjoy some like low fees on the other hand when it comes to credit cards or like other like more traditional like bank transfer payment methods.
I must ask a tricky question, Bassam, a very tricky question. So you mentioned Revolut. You already mentioned Revolut quite a few times already. So that's the official partnership with Revolut, right? Because I know in the
Yes.
past, Revolut had some issues with this whole, crypto payments. I think you know what I mean, right? So, you can open the crypto account at Revolut, right? And if you send crypto to it, you'll get instantly blocked. But what you're saying is that you have the official partnership with the Revolut Pay, correct?
Yeah, 100%. So we have Revolut
Yeah,
Pay as
definitely. Yeah.
a payment methods. Like users having Revolut will be able to, in a few clicks, actually it's when you choose Revolut Pay, you will click and redirect you to the Revolut application, and you will pay us, and then you will be on board. And actually, to be on board, to be honest, from like more technical point of view, the conversion rate or like the acceptance rate are quite very high from our side. So our collaboration with Revolut is quite on the good conditions,
Good terms?
let's say, or like good side. Yeah, good terms.
Good terms, yeah. That's excellent. That's excellent news because I see all those different providers. They offer, hey, you can send it to your bank account, and then the way it ends, the bank account is not really happy about random payments. But what you describe is definitely something on point, something that more companies should be able to offer to provide those actual official partnerships with different banks, with different card providers, Visa, Mastercard, Revolut, whatever. Something that actually gives them the sufficient ground to move their funds from Web2 space into the Web3 and vice versa.
Yeah, actually, I can add here because we also have like not only with Revolut. That's why like I was speaking more about like European at the geo like as a payment method. We also have something called open banking where you actually choose your bank. Like just choose your bank, it will redirect you to your European bank, and then you can, without actually filling any like IBAN or any SWIFT manually, it will automatically fill, and you can actually pay. So this is also something that we're seeing a lot of traction there as well.
It's definitely very good. Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, this has been a fascinating conversation here. This is actually speaks directly to a pain point that I've personally been experiencing over the last couple of weeks, last couple of months here, and really been starting to feel it. So, just from a personal standpoint, this partnership truly, is definitely going to make my life a heck of a lot better. And I really hope it makes all of your lives significantly better as well. Guys, we have over 620 viewers right now between all of the platforms that we are streaming to. So I just want to thank you guys all so much. Because of your engagement with this conversation, we are trending. We are top 3 on live on X right now, and we are competing with powerhouses like Meteora and Coin Bureau. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this awesome conversation. These are the conversations that we need to move the entire space forward. And Bassam, Dimitri, beyond grateful for you guys being a part of this and offering your expertise to this partnership and to, talking about mass adoption and the state of affairs and all of these different things. So we're going to wrap it up pretty soon here, guys, but I would be remiss if I didn't send the mic back to you to just, I'd love for you guys to share some closing thoughts, some calls to actions, some exciting updates that you want to share with the community to, really just end this on a really high note here. So maybe Bassam, I'll start with you and then we'll go to you there, Dimitri, and we'll wrap it up here. So yeah, thanks again. Bassam, it's all yours.
Well, yeah, I can actually, for me, it was really pleasure meeting you guys. Thanks a lot for having us. And I'm actually always, beside my job as a Guardarian, I'm always pro crypto guy from the first day. So I'm always interested as much as possible as educating people and trying to tell them more about decentralization and what centralized exchanges are bad. That's like as a more as a joke. When it comes to the high end, I always try to advise users when it comes to. I know that KYC might be a little bit weird for Web3 users, but to be honest, if you go to his servers and you actually don't find them having any KYC, any like checks when it comes to that, make sure that there is kind of a red flag over that. So like everyone hates KYC, everyone hates them, like we also hate them as well. But to be honest, on the other side, if you don't see them somewhere, know that there's something actually wrong with that. So yeah, so we hate them, but we still need them. And everybody actually, as I mentioned before, we hate this is a normal part of legalization and make governments trying to take over crypto space. Hopefully at some day we will all be already moved to Web3, so we will be more not reliant on Web3 or Web2 infrastructure.
You're gonna get us banned,
what to
Bassam.
do?
You're gonna get us banned, Bassam, I'm telling you.
What to do? But anyway, thanks a lot.
I'll vote for Bassam for a world president here any day of the week. No, that's awesome, man. And this is something that Alex Gusev, our founder and CEO, always says so eloquently, is that when it comes to, actually using crypto in the real world, with the way that things are right now, there is no avoiding KYC. This is part of the dance that we have to participate in order to be able to cooperate in the real world. Now, in saying that, the point and the mission is to make things as easy, as cheap, and as seamless as possible. So definitely seems like that's something that you guys are doing at Guardarian, and something that we are hoping to, or we are accomplishing as well through Tectum here as well. So Bassam, huge pleasure chatting with you, my friend. This has been an awesome AMA. I feel like we were able to get on some really important topics. We stuck to our script, but then we went completely off script, and it was a blast. So thank you so much. And thank you to all the Guardarian community members who joined us here today. We're pushing 700 viewers right now, and I'm super proud to be having this conversation with you guys here. So without further ado, Dimitri, same question goes to you, my friend. Any calls to action, any final words, any exciting updates you want to leave us with?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for listening to us. And I know it could be an early day for some of you, or early night for the likes of me. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Trav. It's been a massive pleasure talking to you, Bassam, as well. And well, to the community, I would say that, guys, make sure you follow us on the next couple of updates, such as us moving into the launch pads that will happen very, very soon. I'll show you of this. As well as in regards to the partnership with Guardarian, I'll make sure I'll be amongst the first ones to actually push into its integration to our soft node wallet, because that's something definitely we are missing a bit. Thank you, guys.
Apologies. My internet's, I don't know, something's happening over here. Am I interrupting you right now, Dimitri, or were you finished?
No, I just finished. You reconnected just back on time.
Perfect. Thank you so much there, Dimitri. And then just to kind of highlight a point you made about the Launchpad integrations that's happening is just a little spoiler. Tectum is about to launch the brand new TCT token, which is the community-driven token. The only purpose of this token is to reward the community. Not to worry, the TET token is still in use and is the backbone of the Tectum ecosystem here. And these two are designed to complement each other, not compete with each other. So if you guys are looking for any more information about that, definitely check out the Tectum website. Definitely check out Tectum, the bio on X. All the information is there that you need. We're talking about staking. We're talking about governance, like actual governance that works. We're talking about rewards, exclusive access. There's a lot to be excited about here. So really appreciate you bringing that up there, Dimitri, and really excited to share that with the community as well. Perfect. Gentlemen, we are wrapping up at 700 viewers. To you guys who joined us today, thank you all so much for being here, for being a part of this community, for being a part of this conversation. My name is Trav. This is Bassam and Dimitri, and it has been a pleasure having this conversation with you guys today. Stay tuned for our next conversation, which will happen very, very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, or night. Take care.
Thank you, guys.